Hi guys, how you doing? So today we're going to do something a little bit different, and I'm going to show you what I do pretty much on a weekly basis, sometimes on a daily, depending on what it is that I'm looking for and how I need to go about looking for what I want for the best possible prices. Okay, so what we're going to have a look at, we're going to have a look at two websites while we go through this process. Now, I am not sponsored or affiliated by anyone that I am going to show you today at all. Not at all. There is no sponsorship, no affiliation, no money coming my way whatsoever. I just want to show you that sometimes bargains aren't always bargains, and sometimes they are. This is a really good way to look at food that you want to have either on hand or for storing for a little bit down the line, to put in your long-term pantry or even your prep pantry. So let's go and have a look at what we can have a look at and do a few comparisons. Okay, so Discount Dragon, this is a particular website that I use quite a lot. I do check out a lot of the prices on here. It's not always as cheap as they try and make out that they are, and I will show you for why. Okay, but we will have a look and see what they've got on their latest deals and things like that today. They do have a lot of stuff that is £2 or less, which is always useful. Of course, if it was £1 or less, that would be even more useful, but you know, we take what we can. Right. Okay, so the latest deals at the moment, two of the top ones are these Walker Sensation Thai Sweet Chili Flavoured chips. They are, or crisps, sorry. There's 18 packs here of 65 grams for $7.99. Now, if you're into that kind of thing, that's cool. That's not a problem. It might save you a bit of money. I'm not entirely convinced, and it's not something that I'm interested in having because it's not something that has a hugely long shelf life, shall we say. Same with these Oreo cake bars. Unless you're going to be using them pretty much, say, for the kids' lunches or for packed lunches or something, I would probably use them then. If you're into that kind of thing, I'm not actually into that kind of thing, but you're going to get 12 packs of cakes for $3.99 in the box. So that's not too bad. It's not too bad. Okay, it's not a bad deal. Now, a lot of their pots and pans, can I just say, not worth it, and it's not what I'm looking for anyway. So I'm not really going to be looking too quickly at those. Mind you, the Villeroy and Bosch dishes, if I was looking for those, they would be prices I'd be willing to pay for that. Okay, you can get those cheaper elsewhere. The salt and pepper mills, the wooden ones, you can get them cheaper, and they are just as good. Okay, so we're going to go down here a bit. They've got things like incense sticks if you're into that kind of thing. Sometimes they're a good thing to have a bit of a stock of, because if you're in a situation where you might have to stay in and, say for example, the sewers, you don't want that smell around your house all the time. So having things like incense sticks and stuff like that might help a bit. Just a bit. Not to mention, you know, during the winter, where if you've got teenage boys around, can I just say, you want to have your incense sticks. But I prefer the original Nag Champa in the blue box. I prefer those. They're very pungent and they get through most things, including teenage boys. Okay, so here's one. All right, so we've got 12 tins of salmon here. I'm going to pull this one up. 12 times 105 gram tins of Prince's Red Wild Pacific salmon. Now, if you're into salmon, this is a great thing to have a look at. It is something that will last on the shelf for however long it takes for you to go through it. So it's a good one to have. However, at this price, is it really that much of a bargain? Okay, now the difference between red and pink salmon, it's not really worth quibbling about. Okay, so the difference is sockeye salmon is often called red salmon due to its deeper hue, its higher fat content, and is more flavourful than pink salmon. Do we care? No, not really. It's salmon at the end of the day. It's something to put a meal on the table, whether you're going to use it as a protein to go into a dish like pasta, or if you're going to make fish cakes out of it, or a fish pie out of it, or whatever, or just eat it out of the tin, or make sandwiches with it. Honestly, I really don't care about the difference. Okay, I really don't. It doesn't make any actual difference to me and the quality of the food that I'm feeding my family. Okay, but what does matter to me is the price. Now, red salmon was the kind of thing that my mum used to buy for Christmas, okay? And she'd have a couple of tins set aside at the back of the cupboard for when they'd been on offer, and she would pick them up on offer. Is this a cheap prep? No. Okay, and I'll show you for why. Now, as the pink salmon, it's not the red salmon, but as the pink salmon in the tins, in their large tins, there's 418 grams for £3 each. These tins have only got 105 grams in them. There's almost 4 of these tins in each one of those big tins. And there's only 12 of these tins in this pack. That means we'd only need 4 tins of the big pink salmon to have the same amount of salmon. Or a little bit. Tiny bit less. Say 5. Let's go. We're going to stretch it and we're going to get 5 tins. It's still only going to cost us £15 for the same or more of the amount of salmon. That's less than half the price of these 12 little tiny tins. Now, if you want smaller tins of salmon, they are available. And as I said, they're here. They're at any supermarket, let's be honest. These ones are £1.70 each, but there's 213 grams in each one. That's twice what's in those Prince's tins. Twice what's in them. So again, to get the same amount, and that's a reasonably sized tin. Okay, so, you know, that's basically 2 of the other tins per one of these. So 6 of these. It's £10.20. You know, and I'm like, really? I would put, and this is going to take up less room than the other tins. Let's be honest. They will probably come to you in a slab. Of course, you can cut it down and what have you, but most of us, if we're putting it in long-term storage or in our prep tins or whatever we're doing, they are going to go on the thing in their slab, so it's not going to be an inconvenience to us. Okay, that's the bottom line here. So, and they're going to be easier to pick up if you have to go somewhere else, rather than just trying to do this with all the tins off the shelf. So, to me, this is not a bargain. It's not a bargain. And it's not worth the money. It really isn't. If you want to get something special for Christmas, and you would prefer to have red salmon, okay, They have similar tins, which are here, skinless and boneless, which is exactly the same size tin, and it's £2.65 a tin. You know, you're looking at the difference right there straight away. Not quite sure why it's gone up so much in price when it's only 65 grams more. And then you got skinless and boneless red salmon here in a tin of 170 for £4.15. You know, and this one's 213 grams of red salmon, which will probably have a bit of skin and bone in, which you can actually eat tinned salmon bones and the skin, just mix them up in the stuff, in the rest of it, and it will literally disintegrate. £2.80. So I would be going for the £2.80 option if it were me, because there's 213 grams in a pack there. If I was going to do that, I would go for the £2.80. You're still going to only get your 6 tins because that's how much you want to get. So that's £2.80 times 6 equals £16.80. It's still cheaper than this. Okay, it's still well cheaper than this. I understand that it's Prince's, I understand the name, I understand all of that, but you know what? At the end of the day, this is about our pockets and doing what's best for what's in our pocket. Okay, so this is the kind of thing that I will do. I will go and search the supermarkets, I will go and do this kind of thing, and I will compare what they have with what I want. All right. So we're going to have a look down a little bit further, see if they've got anything else in their new deals. I mean, these are a cute thing to have. Set of syrups. However, if you go to the Monin website, alright, so we're going to go to the actual website. Yes I am. I'm pretty sure I am. And we go and have a look at the syrups. And these are all the litre bottles, okay? So they are the big bottles, they're not the small bottles. Alright, let's just say, for example, what flavours are in that? What have we got? What flavour? So let's say choose between frosted mint, roasted hazelnut or triple sec. So let's have a look at an equivalent. Let's say frosted mint. Mint syrup. Here we go. For the big bottle. How much? Oi. Oh. Okay, let's go and have a look at it for a search, okay? So we're going to look for a syrup de Monin frosted mint. Paste. There we go. Right, so these are 3 little tiny bottles, which are great for a gift. And to be honest, this is the kind of thing that I would probably get as a gift for people for Christmas. Okay, so I would probably buy 5 of these for this. However, if you're wanting it to look to go in your pantry, it's going to be cheaper for you to buy these. Okay, now you can get them at all kinds of different prices, anywhere ranging from around it's all around the £7 mark. Let's be fair. So these bottles as well are only they're like 5ml, peeps. They're 5ml bottles. 5ml bottles. So they're only there for 1 hot chocolate. They're not there for several hot chocolates. They are tiny, tiny little bottles. They are 5 centilitres each. 5 centilitres. That is tiny. It also says minimum best before end July 2024. So yeah, are they fit for Christmas presents? Yes, they are. Why? It's sugar syrup. It ain't going anywhere. Alright? It's fine. Are they cute for a little present? Yes. Are they cute for a little present if you're putting it together for like a little hot chocolate hamper type thing for a friend? Yes. Or a coffee one? Yes. If you want it for your own cupboard, do you want this? No, is the short answer. The short answer is no. However, if you're in a community situation, having things like this on hand to pull out to raise morale, if necessary, just to say, if say one of your community or one of your group is feeling not great, is starting to get the whole fatigue thing happening, starting to go into a bit of a slump, depressed state or whatever, pulling one of these out could actually change the mood for that person in a very, very significant way. Okay, so it depends on the way you're wanting it to use it, the way it's worthwhile to you. So these basically, they're like the little mini bottles you get in the mini bars. Okay, so they're about that. All right, so they're tiny, but like I said, up to you, depending on what you want to use it for. Is it worth it for you? It may not be. You may want to go and get a bigger bottle so that you've got more of it, because that is something that you would like to have more of. Or you want to put these together as a part of the present for Christmas, or to put in your preps as a morale booster. However, if you are in a community and to make someone feel a little bit special, they're also not a bad idea, I think, for bartering. You know, I mean, in that kind of situation, wouldn't you want to barter for something a little bit special? Because I know I would. So, you know, if you can find something a little bit special, you might end up with, yeah. So, let's have a look. What else we got? 3 meals, gingerbread, mulled wine. That's up to you guys. So, that's a you thing. Okay. There's I don't know, I don't do wax melts. I don't. I prefer to have my oils in an oil burner if I am going to do that kind of thing. A lot of the wax melts tend to have synthetic flavors or oils or whatever you want to call them. They don't do very well for me, and in an enclosed space they do even worse for me. I end up my eyes streaming and my nose going, and it's almost like I've got the worst kind of flu possible. So I choose not to have those. I prefer, like I said, I prefer to have oils that I can trust, that I've either made myself or that I've been able to get, that are proper essential oils made in a proper way, or to have incense sticks, ones that I can trust. And that's not the cheap ones. That is the proper old school Nag Champa in the blue box. Okay, and whatever else that company happens to make, because they are pucker, they're proper. Right, we got floor wipes if that's what you want in a push. Sometimes they're handy to have around, I'm not gonna lie. I've got stuff like this that I've got around. Are they cheap? Depends what you want them for. Let's have a look. What have we got? Does it extra strong floor wipes, lemon fresh, copy. Let's get rid of this. Paste, search. No. Cut price wholesaler has them for 69p. Oh, that's not cheap. So, cut price wholesaler. Cut price wholesaler is a wholesaler that I use, but mostly at Christmas to get decorations and presents and stuff like that. And that's one of the ones I do. So yes, you would have to buy 12 units, but it's still more than half price or less than half price of those, the ones from ones from here. Now, I would be much happier purchasing a 12 pack for less than a tenner than buying one pack for £2, especially when you find out that it's only 83p a pack. Sorry, Discount Dragon, ain't doing it. You know, that's not happening. All right, so that's not something that is as good an offer as you would hope it to be. Now, what I would say is this, okay? If you are going to go and get orders from places like Cut Price Wholesaler, you want to check and see what their delivery fees are. Some of them, if you have orders, see we go, free UK deliveries on orders over £200. Now, I wait until we've got an order over £200. Okay, I do that every single time. And that makes sure that we don't have to pay extra, you know, delivery fees on top. So I keep an eye on what it is that I want to get. I make sure that that is all kept together, and then I go and make my order. It's very rare that I will actually purchase an order from these guys unless it's, you know, yeah. So we've got hard as nails super glue here. This could be an interesting one. Let's have a look at this one. I'm always looking at glues and, you know, tape and all of that kind of stuff. So let's go back to our Google and see what we've got here. Well, actually, that looks quite a decent price. Until you look at Cut Price Wholesaler again. Ah, and you can get 12 units for $13.39. Yeah, $1.19 per unit. Now, what I will say about this is this. Super glue is a very useful thing to have around the house. Always. It absolutely is always. Very, very handy thing to have around the house. Is it something that you would want to have around the house for emergencies? Probably. And you would want to have something like that in your preps for your first aid kit to help with sutures. So if you've got a situation where someone's really badly cut themselves, what you would, or, you know, has sliced the skin open, then you need to put it back. So what they actually, super glue was actually invented for that purpose. Can I just say it wasn't invented for, you know, people to do weird things with. So, you know, it was actually there as a first aid option, and it has been used like for that for a lot of, especially in field first aid. It's been used for that for a lot of years. So if it's say for example it's on a kid or someone who has other injuries and you don't want to put them through the whole we're going to have to sew this up kind of situation, or you don't think that the sutures are going to stick because you're going to have to bath them first, or, you know, but you need to stop bleeding pretty quickly, this would be the option. So, you know, that to me is something that I would look very closely at, but I would certainly look at getting it from the discount store, making a note of all of this information and putting it all together in a list until you have your £200 worth that you want to get, and just put the money aside. Right, next, what are we looking at next? Okay, so drain unblockers, gloves, sponges like this, all these kinds of things, really, really inexpensive, and you can get them pretty much anywhere very, very cheaply. Is it worth going to a site like this to get them? No, it's really not. It really isn't. So now you got like pet bowls and things like that. That's cute. Squeaky toys if that's what you want to have. But we're going to browse some categories here and we're going to have a look at the food cupboard. Now, we're going to look at ready meals. I'd rather just look at ready meal stuff that might be useful to put aside for now. You've got these naan breads. That's kind of cool. What's the date on them? Best before 20th of the 8th, 2024. So that's the 20th of August. Yeah, 20th of August. Well, as I'm filming this, it's the 11th. So it's up to you whether you feel that that's worth it. I'm not sure I would. Okay. This is interesting. Now, this site does do a lot of bulk stuff. So this particular purchase is 7 Prince's Sweet Chili Tuna Salad Bowls with Couscous. Minimum best before. They found me. Or maybe not. Off you go. 27th of July next year. That's quite a good way away. And that's a best before. So you've probably got another 6 months to a year on that, to be honest, to use them up. Let's be honest. But use your own common sense with that. It could be something that you just put aside, so when the kids are home for school on holidays, you use it for that. That would be a really good way of using them up. Having those for the kids on the summer holidays or over Christmas or whatever. Any holidays where, you know, they're not at school having school dinners. So, you know, it's a possibility. Is it worth it? I actually think these ones are. You're getting salads. I'm not even going to look up the prices for these because I know they're extortionate. So 7 of these, it's 160 grams. I think very worth having. And if you are looking at them for preps and stuff like that, yeah, they're worth it. I mean, to me, that's well cheaper than an MRE, a wet pack MRE. So it's definitely worthwhile having. However, you're going to have to keep with all your preps and all your pantry stuff. You've got to keep an eye on the dates. You've got to do, you know, a good turnaround and make sure that everything is where it should be. Just keep an eye on things, basically. Miso soups, I love these. I really love these. Now, these are so good for you. Sweet corn miso soup. You get 3 in a pack. And they're just basically a cup of soup. 3 servings. Is that cheap? Considering the price of cup of soups these days. Yeah. Reasonable. It says it's best before 30th of the 9th, 2024. You have minimum 2 packs. You have to get 2 per order, so you've got to make allowance for that having to be 2. Okay. So yeah, I would get that. Smoked mackerel, gin and tonic flavoured. No, God, no, just no. We've got the Dolmio pasta pronto with tomato and chili. These are ready-made, all in one. You can eat them as they are, or if you've got a microwave, or you can stick them in a camp stove in a pot of water for 5-6 minutes on the boil. Okay, so you get 6 of those for $6.99. That's not bad, and it's not a bad one to have in your preps. It also says a minimum best before is 16th of the 8th, 2024. Yeah. See, the problem with a lot of these places is they are short dated stuff. It's up to you what you want to do. I personally possibly wouldn't take the risk on those ones. I would be more likely to go and get, say, the Heinz cream of tomato and basil cup of soups. They've also got a spicy tomatoes tuna salad in that lot, which is also 7 bowls for $9.99. But then you've got all of these pot noodles. Now these ones is a pack of 24 of these little pot noodle things. So even if you hadn't, if you don't have a pot, you've got the little pot to cook it in. So, you know, that's always a good thing, because you don't always, like, for the flat pack ones in the little plastic baggie, you don't always have something to cook them in or to serve them in. But at least this way, you know, you can at least put some water in it. So, but that's 24 for $16.99. That's not bad. That's not bad, actually. Okay, so it's 24. No, hang on. $16.99 divided by 24 is 70p each. That's pretty good going. So there's also Sherwood's curry and rice one. That's 6 of those for $6.99. Any way you look at these are all cheaper than the ones you would get in MRAs. Make your own. That's all I can say. Make your own. Yeah, what I was saying is that these are great, don't get me wrong, because you can chuck these into a big pot and make them into a meal for lots of people, right? And they will go very, very far. And they've got ones here for 35p, 45p. It's pretty much same everywhere, okay? Those are reasonable to have quite a lot, but if you don't have a big pot, or you can't spare your big pot or whatever, you using your cup to boil water in and that kind of thing, not as convenient, but you know, they're useful to have around. And we have loads of them, I'm not going to lie to you. We're kind of addicted to them. We have quite a lot of them. We probably have them maybe 2 or 3 times a week in different ways. So, you know, we're not going to look at these because I know for a fact that you can get these cheaper, way cheaper than that, because we buy them cheaper than that. We go and get the Asda's own brand ones, or either the Asda own brand ones or the other supermarkets own brands ones, and they are just as good. I don't care about them being skinless and boneless, frankly. Don't care at all. And nor does my partner, nor does the rest of our family. We really don't care. We really do not. Because fish bones like mackerel, salmon, and those kinds of fish bones in canned fish are edible. They're not going to do you any harm. They're fine. And if anything, they're going to give you a bit more vitamins and minerals. So here as well, you've got the instant pasta packs cups, and they're 12 for $14.99. Is it worth it? Yes, I would get those. Mashed potatoes with cream flavour, possibly. I don't know, would I get those? Do you know what? Yeah, I would, and I'll tell you for why I would. Because we have people in our group who their comfort food is potatoes, mash, you know, and all you have to do is make a little pot of gravy, and they would be like pigs in heaven. Can I tell you? They would be in their element, they would be happy as Larry, and they would love it. So, would I do it? Yes, I would. I would absolutely do that. Is it worth it? Yeah, to me, it would be. Because if they went in, they're the kind of people, if they go into a slump, try and get them out again, you're not going to get them out again. So you're going to have to pull out something like this as a you know, motivation type thing, and it's going to make them feel a little bit better about life. Okay, so you got loads here. You got mashed potato with cheese, you got mashed potatoes with chicken flavour, other noodle pots. These ones are 8. There's 8 in these ones, but they're vegetable with sweet and spicy sauce or chicken and teriyaki sauce. So they're a little bit posher, so they are going to cost a little bit more. Is that a problem? No, I wouldn't say so. There's also beef and spicy sauce one. Again, 8 of them for $11.99. Still reasonably cheap, actually. Reasonably cheap. Bibimbap Korean inspired meal kit. Would I get this? Yes. And I'll tell you for why. Food fatigue is a real problem. If you're looking at having to live out of your pantry or live off rationing for any amount of time, it's an absolute problem. So if you don't have little meal kits like this or a lot of herbs and spices available to you, you're gonna run into problems with major food fatigue, and it is such a morale issue if you can't come up with different things. Food fatigue is, in my opinion, is one of the first ways that you're going to lose people's mental health. Because as much as, you know, you can have rice and beans forever and ever and ever, but if you can have rice and beans Mexican style one day, or you can have it Japanese style another day, or you can do a bibimbap another day, okay, the other 4 days where you have to have just rice and beans is going to be a lot more copeable than if you don't have that. Okay, people are going to cope better with the mundane if you know that you're going to have something really amazing on the Friday. For example, okay, so we're going to have a look at tinned goods. Let's have a look at tinned goods very, very quickly, because I know this is going on a little bit. So we got things like home fried cooked sauces, serves for beef and ale concentrated sauce. Is it worth it? £1.34. Again, yes, it's worth it. It's for those moments where you've got a lot of dried food and you're just making up stews or whatever, or you're just chucking a whole load of stuff in a pot. It's just there to give it something, right? Is it important? It can be. It could be. It could be very important. Posh sauces, are they important? It's up to you. These ones in glass jars I wouldn't be that concerned with. Some of them, yes. Some of the deals on them are really, really good. This is a really, really fancy one. It's a Lloyd Grossman. It's nearly £2 a jar. Would I buy many of them? Probably not. Is a barbecue pizza sauce. That could end up being a really good thing to do if you're able to make your own pan breads and flatbreads and stuff like that, so that you can make some kind of pizza type thing. It could be a game changer. So is it worth doing? Maybe. It's your choice. So these are posh beans and stuff in tins. Bonner's is incredibly expensive normally. Would I buy them? Maybe not. I wouldn't, because I can get black beans for 35p in the supermarkets. You know, you can get them for a lot cheaper than 65p in the supermarkets. Green Thai vegetable curry. Actually, I probably would get that one because it's a meal and it's 95p. And tinned meals right now, incredibly expensive. Stupid money. So, you know, some of them are up in the realms of between £5 and £7 for a tin. And frankly, that's disgusting. Devon Custard creme anglaise. Do you know what? I would probably look at getting that. Maybe not that one. And we'll have a look at where we can get a cheaper one than that. Because I think tins of custard are a morale booster. And I know, for example, my son in particular, do you know what? It'd be worth getting them ones. It would be worth getting those ones. I mean, they're just 500-gram pack of one in a box. I'd rather have the ones in the tin. They travel better. They don't mind if being bounced across the floor a couple of times. Do you know what I mean? That box would split open and it'd break my heart. So, yes. Is it worth it? Absolutely it's worth it. Why? And I'll tell you for why it would be worth it for me. My son, this is his comfort food. This is the thing that makes him happy. If he wants to stand there with a tin of custard 3 days into an event, or 3 months into an event, because he is losing his ever-loving mind, I'm going to give him a can of custard if I can get it. So yes, I would absolutely be getting this if I can do that, just to put a little smile on his face so he can keep going, right? So yes, I would do that. Tins of beans, tins of soups, tins of these kinds of beans. That is an amazing price for baked beans, can I just say? Especially for Heinz ones. If you're into Heinz ones, we don't really care. Bottom line, most beans that you buy are made by Heinz. They're just how watery they are. I find Heinz beans are a little bit too thick for me. I prefer the cheaper tins, I'm not gonna lie, and so does Tanny, so that's what we tend to get. Is it worthwhile having some of these around? Yeah, just for the shits and giggles of it. Oh look, it's Heinz. Banana blossoms. Now yes, I would be looking at this. We have a couple of vegetarians in our group, so I would be looking at things like this, and I would be looking at them at around that price. And this is for why. Normally these particular ones are around £3.50. You know, you can get them cheap. Obviously that's Discount Dragon there. You can get other ones a little bit cheaper. It's just these ones we know are good. I know those ones are good. They're the ones that I would probably get. Especially if I can get the good ones at the same price as I can get the really cheap ones. So, you know, that's just a me thing. That's what I would do. I would get some of those because they can change up a meal. And I mean, they do say minimum best before 26th of the 4th 24, but you know what? I've got some from 3 years ago that are still working. They're still fine. So I don't get it. I don't particularly get it. Right. We're not going for that. Nope. Red kidney beans. Yeah, you can get them cheaper. Same with the garden peas. You can get those cheaper. Cup of sauce, cup of soups. $1.25 for 4. Again, you're paying for the name with this one. It's up to you. These sardines, King Oscar sardines, Mediterranean style, $16.99 for a pack of 10. Is it worth it? I'm buying sardines at the moment for 39p a tin, and they're in tomato sauce. Are they worth it? Not for everyday use. So they're the kind of thing that I would keep. Like, if I was going to have those, they'd be kept for a special occasion. Or perhaps bartering, looking at longer term type thing. Fray Bentos, vegetable bolted pie, £2.65. Can I just say, I know that there's a couple of people out there who may see this video who are absolutely, they love their Fray Bentos. In fact, I know that there is someone who has like the biggest collection of Fray Bentos I've ever seen in my life. However, we got some Fray Bentos a little while ago. In fact, only about a month ago, we got two. We got 2 mince and onion pies. Hang on, hold please, I have to take this. Now, sorry about that. So there was actually a really good reason why we got these. Tanny wanted the tins for Yorkshire puddings because he wanted Yorkshire puddings that were big enough to put his dinner in. And the Fray Bentos tins, he's had this little bee in his bonnet for quite some time. Can I just say, number one, yes, they worked. That was great. They're big enough to do a toad in the hole. He did that the second night. Am I Yorkshire puddinged out? Yes, I am. However, the point is the Fray Bentos. We went and got the mince and onion one. I pulled the pastry off mine, and I kid you not, there was a lump of meat that big of mince, which was like someone had got a little spoon and gone plop in one corner. The rest was gravy, and it was that thick of gravy on the bottom. It was all pastry. There was no filling, no nothing. And I was like, I was gutted because my parents used to buy Fray Bentos pies, and we'd have that for dinner with a bit of mash and some veg, and we'd split it between the three of us, you know, and it would do the three of us, and we'd all have a decent amount of meat, decent amount of filling, decent amount of gravy. These were all pastry. Would I pay this for a Fray Bentos pie? No. It's my bottom line. This is my bottom line. I don't mind paying for things where I'm going to get what I think is worth the money. These, to me now, Fray Bentos pies have gone down so much in their quality that they are not worth the money to pay for them. However, saying that, does a little bit of gravy and a little bit of pastry raise morale from time to time? Yes. Yes, it does. Can I do that in an emergency situation? Maybe, is the bottom line. Will I have Fray Bentos pies in my preps? Yes, I will. However, can I just say, if anyone from Fray Bentos sees this, pull your frigging game up, okay? I don't want to pay for just pastry. I can go and get that down the shop in the cooling section, and I can make my own gravy to go in it. If it says mince and onion on the tin, I want mince and onion underneath, right? Because those are now, as far as I'm concerned, individual pies. The fact that my family used to be able to sit down and have one of those between them, between 3 people, or even 4 if I had a friend over, with veg as a meal, tells you everything you need to know about one of them. Okay? They're supposed to be a family pie. They're not supposed to be an individual pie. They need to have the contents inside them to prove that point. Okay? Especially for what you're charging for them. Watching you. Right. Okay. What we have here. Cream of chicken soup, which is Heinz. Would I get it? Yes, I would. 69p? Absolutely I would. 3 tins of cannellini beans. Would I get that for $1.49? Probably, actually, for 150 gram tins. Yes, quite possibly, because I can use those, make a very quick together, whatever, and you know. Heinz spaghetti and sausages. 3 tins for 200 grams. Would I pay that? No. Completely different thing. Spaghetti and sausages, beans and sausages, I can get from the, you know, the bottom shelves for a lot cheaper than that, and that aren't going to, you know, break the bank. And in fact, we could probably get maybe 12 tins of those for the price of that, if you're good. And they're big tins, or the equivalent of 12 of those tins. Ravioli, would I get that? No. And the other reason, okay, so again, Heinz ravioli and tinned ravioli seems to have gone way downhill. Now, I remember as a kid, we maybe had 6 or 7 pieces of ravioli in a tin. Why? Because they were massive. Massive. They were huge. Okay? Now, and I remember them on my fork wobbling because they were bigger than my fork. Now, I had a grown-up fork like everybody else. Didn't have any of these kids' forks, just a normal fork. And it would be wobbling on there. The tins now, you can get 2 or 3 on a fork. What's the point in that? And it's all pastry. It's all pasta. There's no actual filling, and it just doesn't taste right. It's gone. And to me, no. Just no. 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 It's not happening. No. Not at all. Right. Okay, so we got marrowfat peas, mixed bean salad. Would I get the mixed bean salad? Probably not. And I wouldn't get the marrowfat peas. Sardines for $1.29. Not a chance. Not a chance. You can pick them up for 30-40p a tin at different supermarkets, and I would get those ones, to be honest, because that's just me. Right, food cupboard. What else are we going to look at in the food cupboard? We've been talking about it. Let's have a look at condiments and sauces very, very quickly. See, these types of things like the Nando's and stuff like that, if you've got stuff like that that you can grab 1 or 2 different things of, yeah, grab a couple of those. It's always going to help with the dinners. These, you know yourself how much sauces. Some of these are actual tester flavors. Ketchup pickle flavor is definitely a tester. Would I keep it? Would I try it? No. No, not at that price. Certainly not. Worcestershire sauce. No. Mostly because I make my own mushroom sauce. Mushroom ketchup, which is basically the same thing. So I don't really see the point in having Worcestershire sauce. Saying that, we do have a bottle, so it will probably last for us 50 years anyway. Salad cream. No, not in a glass bottle. I wouldn't have it. Hoisin sauce. Now this one I would get is £6 for a 2.27 kilo tin. What I would then do is I would decant that into jars and I would water bath it for probably 45 minutes to an hour, and decant it into jars so that it's usable on the shelf, and we wouldn't have to open the massive tin to get a couple of tablespoons of it out. Okay, so hoisin sauce is basically the Chinese version of barbecue sauce. It's awesome. It makes such a difference when you're cooking, and yeah, it's something that is always in my cupboard. So yeah, I would do that. These pickles and apple sauces and stuff like that, that's entirely up to you. What is this rubbish? Asian sauce with soja, original recipe. Basically what they're saying is that is the Heinz version of soy sauce. Just go down to your local Chinese grocers, go and pick up the bottles, the big bottles of soy sauce down there, dark, light. Get an Indonesian one, which is Cat Manis. You're going to be sorted. If you want to get some tamari, get some tamari. I've got about 4 or 5 different versions. I've even got an Indian version of soy sauce. So, you know, because we use a lot of it, it's very useful stuff. What have we got? We got the Knorrs. Yeah, probably grab a couple of those. What have these got? See, these are good until next year, July next year. They're probably good for fine pasta as well, because they are vacuum sealed. So you should be okay with them for a little while longer. But don't forget to, you know, change stuff around. Would I pay this for fish sauce? No, I would not. And I will show you for why. Okay? Because the big bottles... the big bottles are £3. Less than £3 for a big bottle. That's why. I'm not paying 99p for 150 mils of the stuff when I can get a really big bottle for £3. This stuff will stay on your shelves forever. It will get darker with age. It will get darker with age, and there is nothing wrong with that. Okay? It just means that it's getting more condensed, more, and that's fine. That mine is almost the colour of Worcestershire sauce. It's been on the shelf for so long. Do I have a problem with that? No. In fact, if anything, that makes it a little bit... If I was to buy that quality in the shops, it would be very expensive. It would be considered very expensive because it's been sitting there brewing for 5 years. This can be your equivalent of salt. If you add a little bit of fish sauce, and I mean a little bit, you don't go around shaking all the bottle and half emptying it in a thing of mince or meat. But if you add like a teaspoon or a tablespoonful to mince, it will give you that umami-ness that will make it even more beefy, or, you know, whatever your meat is that you're using. It will give you that something. On plain rice, if all you have is plain rice and you put a couple of squirts of that on it and a couple of drops of Tabasco sauce, it can change that boiled rice to something else. And it'll give you something. If nothing else, it will give you something to change the flavours. So it gives it that saltiness, a little hit of fishiness. Yes, it stinks to high heaven. Don't leave the lid off. It's that simple. Right. So no, I wouldn't pay for that. And you can get it for those prices in any Asian grocery store. So just check it out. Don't be silly. Do you want things like Hollandaise? Do you know what? I would. Personally, I would. Do you know why? Because on my birthday, if I don't get anything else, I'm going to forage for a couple of eggs. I am. And I'm going to poach those eggs. And I'm going to put a little spoon of that over on a homemade muffin or homemade flatbread or whatever. I'm going to make myself something a little bit special for my birthday, because that is my bestest favourite. And I would imagine, found some fish to smoke, and I would have a little bit of smoked fish with the poached eggs with a spoonful of that, and that would be me made up on my birthday, and that would keep me going for the whole year. That would keep my morale going for the entire year. So yes, would I do it? Yes, I would. Absolutely I would. Absolutely I would. Okay, so what about posh ketchups? Do you know what? We can make our own. You can make your own. If you haven't got any of your own, you want to have some posh ketchup that isn't... See, look, this is the thing, right? So you've got posh ketchup down here, which is 255 grams a bottle for $1.99. Or you can have a kilo bottle, which is 4 times one of these, for $3.99. Choice is yours. Up to you. It's about saving you money and not putting yourselves out of whatever. Now, these are entirely up to you if you want to have salad dressings and all of that kind of stuff. I would probably look at the yellow mustard, but you can buy it fairly reasonably cheaply. Things like the aubergine meze paste, smoky paste. If you've got a garden set up, you should have aubergines in it if you're going to eat them. If you're not, is it worth having? Maybe. It's up to you. It's definitely something you have to make a decision on yourself. Would I pay that for it? No, because I make my own. It's basically baba ganoush, but it's got, yeah, it's basically baba ganoush. Okay, so I'm no. So these are tahini based vegan mayos. Would I purchase those? No. Short answer is no. But then the long answer could be yes. And the reason being is that once all the things like the salad cream and the mayo and the eggs and all of that have run out, then you've still got these. Is that a possibility to use those then? Quite probably. Will people get used to it? Yeah. Why? Because it gives their rice and beans something else. That's why. Geeta's mango chutney individual portion pots. Only if you're going to keep them for barter. 288 of them for 20 quid. It's something that you could barter off, actually. It is. Yeah, to me, this is something you could barter off because, again, other people are going to have food fatigue. If they come home with 5 packets of mango chutney, they're going to be made up. Okay, so, yeah, that's the kind of thing you want to keep for stuff like that, or that you could stick in your go bag if that's what you wanted to have. You know, something a little bit different. These are great. Can I just say, Argentinian steak gaucho style seasoning mix, $4.99, 20 sachets. 20 sachets. So yeah, I would be looking at stuff like that. If you can get seasoning packets like this, they're going to last forever. The minimum best before is August 2024. It's a sealed, dried packet. Nothing's going in, nothing's going out. The worst that's going to happen to it might have solidified a little bit on the inside. It's still edible. It's still edible and it's still usable. There is nothing that I can see in these ingredients. Do you want to put your ingredients back up? That's really going to go off very badly. Maybe the corn oil, but the corn oil, it's in a sealed thing. Cereals containing gluten, egg. It doesn't contain egg. It doesn't. It's made to vegan standards, so it doesn't have egg. It's made in the same factory that has egg and the same one that has milk, mustard and soy. Does it have any of those in the ingredients? No. So would I buy it? Absolutely. Absolutely. And there would be a couple of sachets that went into my everyday pantry and the rest would go into the bulk. What have we got? Again, these things, your choice. Completely your choice. Would I get loads of these? No. Is it worth it? No, not really. Things like this, though. I buy these all the time. Can I just say? I got loads of these. I got loads of these. I love them. Right? So we use these on an everyday basis, so they get turned around very, very quickly. Okay? But 2 kilos. 2 kilos of onion gravy granules. Now, they have had several different flavors. They've had the demi-glaze one, which we've purchased that. We have this one, we have the beef one, and we also have the veggie one. Okay, now that gives us 4 options for gravies. That doesn't include cooking down meat juices and all that kind of stuff. It means that we can very quickly get a couple of tablespoons of this, make up with some hot water, and it's going to change, say, one of those pots of mashed potato into, you know, a white food lover's wet dream. It's going to make everyone happy. Bisto gravy, pigs in blanket gravy. Would I have this? Yes. Would I pay that for it? Yes. Because last Christmas it was like 3-4 quid a thing. So yes, I would pay that for it. I would have those for it. Why? Because it's a different flavour of gravy. And like I said, gravy can not only cover a multitude of sins, but it can also raise morale like nothing else I've ever seen. And if there is no gravy on my table, can I just say I don't have a gravy boat, because when I make gravy, I have to put the whole pot on the table with a ladle. Because my lot see it as another food group. That's how important gravy is to them. And that's when I make my own. I only use a tiny little gravy granules in that. I use it like my thickening agent. Do I do it all the time? No. But you know what? When it does happen, the whole room changes. So, gravy granules, have them in as many flavours as you can get, because I'll tell you what, you want to keep people happy, you do it with gravy. Gravy and mash. Right, one more. So we've got all these little variety packs of sauces and things like that and all kinds. Do you really want to do it? You can do, but could I just say, yes, for gift packs, these are cute if you're trying to encourage people to try things. However, is it worth it for home or for preps? No. Not unless you want to use them as bartering options and you've got a little thing like with the syrups. Lobo Accord Food Additive Powder. Okay. Right, okay. So this is basically a meat binder. Alright, would I buy this? Yes. Yes. Short answer, yes I would. Would I buy it for that price? Yes I would. It's a meat binding agent. It's going to help you. If you have a certain amount of meat and you've got a lot of people to feed, you're going to want that meat to go as far as possible. And if you can make it into things like sausages and balls and stuff like that, and you have limited resources, this stuff's going to help you. Very, very much so. Okay. Is it something I would use every day? Like hell, no. No, but I would use it beforehand to just see how it works, and I would use it on, say, 3 or 4 different things. One of them being fish, one of them being pork, one of them being beef, and probably one of them being chicken. And I would use that to test out how it works, to learn how to use it before I'm stuck in a situation where I don't have a choice. So, these things. Spicy Turkish paste with tomatoes, peppers and pomegranate molasses. Again, this is a kind of morale boosting thing if that's what you want to do. Same with the harissa. It's going to give you a different flavour in your food. So yeah, it's up to you. It's all entirely up to you. But looking at websites like this, actually help you to navigate what's worth it and what's not. It will help you to decide what you want and what you don't, and why you want it. Okay, government guidance has been to have 3 days worth of food available in your house for emergencies. 3 days worth of food, as we know, is what they give out of the food banks. 3 days worth of food can actually stretch to 7 to 10 days. That's great. Having 2 weeks worth of food is going to give you a better option and more of an opportunity to stop and think about what you need to do next. Okay? And how far this is going to run. 2 weeks worth of food can stretch to a month, possibly 6 weeks. Okay? But you need to be generous. All right. 3 months worth of food, and we worked it out because Tanny and I actually sat down and worked about this out the other day. We have what we would consider to be 3 months worth of food: breakfast, lunch and dinner, snacks, very comfortably looking after ourselves for 3 months. Okay. Where life would just go on the way that it normally goes on. Okay. If we decided early on to ration that, we could make that last nine months, possibly squeezing it, every last drop out of it, 12 months for just he and I, if it was nobody else. Okay? However, the likelihood of it being nobody else is pretty slim. Okay? Because obviously we have family, we have a plan, and we have everything put together. Alright? So for situations that we find ourselves in at the moment, so for example, what we are personally going through right now, we will be fine at the end, well, where we're filming at now, we'll be fine at the end of the month pretty much, and we need a month to get ourselves back on our feet for things to be completely normal, but at the end of the month we'll still be able to do a bit of shopping. So it's only really been this month that we've had any issues, and we haven't really had to do without. Not really. We could have had, you know, meat and 2 or 3 veg every single day because of planning and putting things away. Okay? So understanding that is your fallback is really important. And it's not about the massive events. This is about the small ones, where you end up finding out that there's a bill that you don't know anything about, you know, that has to be paid right now, otherwise they're going to take your car, or they're going to break into your house and they're going to take your property. You need to pay that bill, and if that takes every penny that you have, then that's what you do. You know, it could be that the car breaks down and you have to get a new transmission or a new alternator or something like that. They run in the hundreds of pounds, so you have to go and find that money because you need your car. So again, having that fallback position is really important. Kids are now going to be off school for the next 6 to 8 weeks. Some kids finish school at the end of March. If they're in uni or in college, you know, they've already finished school, they're still doing their degree, and they're not in a position to be able to get work because some of the, you know, they've got friends that are really, you know, having to look after themselves, and they've got the stopgap of still being living at home. That's the difference. Okay, that's not meaning that they're being lazy. They could be helping you around the house without any problem, right? But what it does mean is that you've still got those mouths to feed without any extra income coming in. Okay, so having those mouths to feed, if you're looking at sites like this during the year so that you can actually have a look and see, hang on, do not disturb. Should have done that earlier. Anywho, the point is, look at these sites, find some more. I'm going to put a list down in the descriptions of the ones that I know of, the ones that are worthwhile having a look at. £200 for the opportunity not to have to purchase postage and handling may seem a lot, but as you could see, just having one box, that's like 15 quid on its own, you know. So having a look at those things, putting that money aside and making sure that that is kept for that particular reason until you find what you want that makes up that 200 and you can afford to pay for it, then do your order. I do that quite regularly, and I do that with things like buy Whole Foods online. I do that with them, and I'm part of their newsletter. If you have their go and get their newsletters as well. Be on their emailing lists, because they will send you extra codes, extra discount codes, all of those kinds of things. Buy Whole Foods online. It's a really good one. They will send you not only a discount code once a fortnight, but they will also send you a freebie if you spend over a certain amount of money. Now I tend to wait until that freebie is something that is really, really expensive, or something that I would not consider buying unless it was coming as a freebie. Okay, so I usually wait for things like cashew nuts. I wait for when the cashew nuts are coming through, or the almonds. Very rarely, and probably once a year, and closer to Christmas, they do macadamia nuts, or they have been known to do macadamia nuts. So I tend to wait until those times, okay, to get my order. That's when I do it. Things like Discount Dragon, Approved Food is another one. Brit Foods Online is another one. But Brit Food Online, can I just say, they ship all over the world. It's in date. It tends to be quite expensive. I'm aware that they're Fray Bentos pies. They sell them in sixes, packs of 6, and they're over 20 quid. And that's like, ha! No, not happening. No, not at all. Now, there are other places as well that sell the big, giant catering tins. If that's useful to you, crack on. Okay, get the big, if you want to get the big tins, get the big tins. If they're, in some cases, the bigger tins are cheaper than the smaller tins, but it's, again, up to what you and yours are going to use. Okay, the bigger tins are things that you would look at for a more community-based group effort than you would be for an individual, unless you were going to decant those tins at some point and water bath, or depending where you are in the world, pressure can them or whatever, to put them in smaller containers and keep them that way safely, or possibly even dehydrating the contents depending on what it is. So it's up to you. There are lots of different ways that you can do all this kind of stuff. You do not have to spend stupid amounts of money to do it. Okay? So please, please, please do not send yourself broke trying to put in a little bit extra here and there. You know, adding, say, a £5 to your shopping a fortnight or every month, just to have a couple of bits of extra to put at the back of the cupboard. No one's going to feel bad about that. You're not going to feel bad about that. Just have a little bit extra, have a little bit of a stopgap. I know there are those that are struggling enough at the moment that they can't even put a meal on the table. I get that. But what I'm trying to do is give you options for when you are out of that situation. Okay? So, you know, that's the important part. That's what we're trying to focus on here. All right? So, don't let it all overwhelm you. Buy what works for you and your family. Make sure that you only have what you guys would eat, unless it's something that you can honestly say, I could barter with that. We could possibly use that. Don't just buy it because it's cheap, because you may not ever use it. But if it is something that, like those little individual portions of mango chutney, occasionally you'll find the boxes of the little sushi fish soy sauce. Them, yeah, they're great. They'll sit on your shelf forever because it's soy sauce. It's so full of salt. It's not going anywhere. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, those as well. They're good little things to have around the place, and good little things to have in your go bag for something that's a little bit different. So if you do have like a meal that is not great, you have your own little stash of something to make it a little bit more edible. Yeah, okay, so that's it from me for today. I will see you again very, very soon. Sundays we are going to be putting out a video that is about preparedness, that is about this kind of shopping, for looking at it from a now use to a bulk use to a prep use. So, you know, you can look at your shopping in a different way. and start planning for yourself. Okay, Fridays, obviously, at the time that I'm filming this and it will be coming out, we are in the middle of the season 4 of the budgeting lives that I do every Friday at 4:30 p.m. UK time. And this particular season we're doing on preparedness on a budget, and we're trying to go with what the government guidance is, but do it in such a way as, number one, that no one's going to get scared out of their wits. Number two, you don't feel so overwhelmed with it that it's, you know, something you can't figure out. And number three, that it's affordable for you. Okay, so we're going to be doing all of that. Please stand by and watch as we go. There are going to be more videos coming out over the next few months. In fact, there's going to be a lot of things that are changing with this channel over the next few months. So thank you for being here with me today. It's been great fun, and I will see you again very, very soon. I love you guys heaps. Mwah! Bye.